Snapshots. I remember Miss Sarah Grant. My mother was a maid in the segregated South, and Miss Sarah Grant one time saw me with my hair not straightened. Having seen it straightened with a hot comb for, well, since she'd met me, since my mother worked for her, and she looked at me and said, "My gracious Lord, what happened to your hair? You look like a little wild woman." And I was filled with shame. I didn't really know why, because it was just, I didn't understand her, I mean, at the time, the indictment, or why the indictment impacted me so. But it really did. So I guess those are my earliest memories of hair journey. And then after the braids, I could no longer go back to any sort of chemical relaxation, because I was in graduate school. And graduate school of any kind, but certainly graduate school, it's an intense intellectual experience, and you're exploring everything. Well, my area was African American rhetoric and history. And so this was my, I call it my romantic romantic racialism period, where, you know, it was about culture and my black heritage, and that's when I got the locks. And I went to Susan's Jaha Hair Studio. And then my marriage, my 22-year marriage ended, and I was devastated, and my children were devastated, and I wanted something different. So I cut off my locks, and sort of I eased back into a relaxer, and that's what you see now. And I remember when I did that, cutting off the locks and feeling conflicted, because it took me a long time. They were really long, so it took me a long time to make the decision, and again, conflicted about what it meant on so many different levels. And then, of course, I heard Indiari's song, "I Am Not My Hair," and she validates whatever you want to do. And so that's where I am in everything. It's, you know, whatever you need to do that's not destructive, that makes you feel good about you, white, black, you know, trying to transcend a lot of these things that mire us down and that divide us, that keep us first and foremost from feeling really good about ourselves, regardless of what you do, that separate us and prevent us from appreciating other people's differences. No, actually, I was in a pretty liberal environment, the academy. So you get to do that. You get to do what you want to do, and, you know, we pretend to embrace everything and everybody, and it's all cool. The biggest, I guess, the negative comments I got were from other African Americans. When I would go home, I was living in Maryland, so when I would go home to Alabama, this was in the 90s. So when I would go home to Alabama, Aunt Toot, that was her name. Aunt Toot would she had some words that were not kind. I will not repeat them, but she had some words that were not kind about my hair. So those were the only negative comments. So without a doubt, more the academy, where the environment is more liberal. We talk about theories. You know, we're curious about things, and we're not necessarily suspicious about differences. In fact, differences intrigue us. So yeah, so that's why I mean, that environment's more open. But when you go into the commercial world, where you're definitely more subject to commercial beauty, and so and the perceptions that come along with people who align or do not align with commercial beauty. So there are the business world, government, many other sectors other than here, and then the academy. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on, I mean, it varies. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on the organization and its you know, its image, and the freedom and the latitude that is generally allowed. In some places, yes, I'm sure, and you have to a change or leave the organization. Charlene?
When you see a black woman with natural hair and she's a working professional, what do you think about her personality, or do you draw any conclusions about her based on her hair?
The immediate conclusion would be confidence. The immediate, and that's probably the only one, because you have to be bold and you have to be confident to go against the grain. So that would be the immediate one.
Thank you for your time.
Oh, you're welcome.